Hello guys, today we're going over Attack of the Clones. This is the second Star Wars movie, not the second one ever released, but this is the second in chronological order, and this film was just absolutely just boring. Of course, like every other film I've reviewed, I'm going to go over the plot and the story of the movie, so you guys can have and of course it contains spoilers. But everybody who watches this video probably have seen this film anyways. Is it really the worst Star Wars movie? I still think The Last Jedi is way worse. Star Wars 2 had not as memorable as the first Star Wars one, The Phantom Menace, but which had some memorable characters and some quite not so memorable characters. But Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, is at least they're trying to make a story with this movie, unlike certain other films that were released over the years, like Batman vs Superman: The Dawn of Justice. So basically, the entire story is 10 years after the Trade Federation invaded planet of the first movie. The Galactic Republic has threatened by the Separatist people, and it was organized by Count Dooku, some boring character that has appeared for no apparent reason. The Senator Padme comes to Coruscant to vote on motion army to assist the Jedi against the bad guys. Narrowly avoiding an assassination attempt upon arrival, she is placed under protection of Obi-Wan and Anakin. There for a second attempt by Zam Lisu, a safe sister, who is soon killed by a bounty hunter, and before they can reveal their identity, the Council assigns Obi-Wan to identify the capture the bounty hunter, while Anakin was escort the Padme back to the planet Naboo, where the pair fall in love and begin a relationship. But it also begins the part with the "I don't like sand" meme comes from. Obi-Wan's investigation leads to Kamino. Well, these spaghetti people are there, and they discover the army of clones, and Jango Fett fights Obi-Wan, and basically and also Boba Fett, who is really a clone of Jango Fett, they both fight each other. Jango and Boba Fett escape, and they travel to Tatooine. Anakin and Padme travel to Tatooine, and they try to save her parent. Anakin tries to save his mother, but she dies. But he kills all the Jawas because the Tatooine slavery is still legal, and other guy tells him where they are. And after Anakin wants to prevent death, basically, and stop death from happening, even though death is a natural thing that happens. On Geonosis, Obi-Wan discovers the separatists of gang led by Count Dooku, who Obi-Wan warns that the goal of assassination is developing a battle droid army with the Trade Federation. Obi-Wan translates his finding to Anakin to aid the Council, but is captured by Count Dooku. Palpatine is bold and rosily powered by no other than frickin' Jar Jar himself, who outside of this part, he holds real relevance to his film and the third film, because he's basically now a background character, kind of like Sonic's cast in more recent games. Then Anakin and Padme join to Geonosis to rescue Obi-Wan, but they also captured. They almost died, but they managed to get out, and they basically fight these monsters for a while. But then the Jedi fight the clone trooper, appear and fight the clone troopers and save them. Anakin and Obi-Wan go fight Dooku, but Anakin's arm got cut off, and Yoda arrives, and basically Obi-Wan gets injured. Yoda basically arrives and fights Dooku, but basically the battle ends in stalemate because Yoda decides not to fight anymore. He sort of at least bided time until Count Dooku got captured and probably put in jail, but they couldn't do that. And of course, Dooku flees to Coruscant. And he's always, of course, stuff to Darth Sidious, who is Palpatine. And the Jedi now at the beginning of the Clone Wars will start an entire 7-season cartoon series. Anakin is fitted with a robotic arm and secretly marries Padme on Naboo, with the only two people being the robot, the droid C-3PO and R2-D2. And that's the end of the movie. This movie was kind of more boring than the first one, and definitely way more boring than the third one. It's kind of like the second Lord of the Rings. It's the transitional movie between two movies. It's the middle movie that really is kind of forgettable and really, like, Phantom Menace has some cool moments, but Part 2 doesn't really have that many cool and interesting moments. Count Dooku is this character that nobody cares about. Jango Fett really gets wasted on the thing, wasted as a villain. Basically the most boring character ever. Jango Fett basically gets defeated really quickly. We know absolutely nothing about him alongside Count Dooku, who gets basically wasted in the first part of the third movie. Overall, Attack of the Clones is actually even worse than Phantom Menace. There are some good moments at like the Jedi battle at the end, and the Great War battle at the end. Propel the fleet in number 2 and number 1, and of course the original trilogy. This film really stands out as one of the worst Star Wars films. Is it a bad film at all, say? No, I've seen way worse films like Batman vs. Superman and the awful Resident Evil movies, and of course Dragon Ball Evolution, which is a disgrace to Dragon Ball Z as a whole. And of course, the Emoji Movie, which is not even a movie at all. It's a freaking advertisement. Which I'll probably do the Emoji Movie after I'm done talking about all the Star Wars films. Because the Emoji Movie really needs to have a rant, because the Emoji Movie is completely garbage. But Episode 2 is it's a 5 out of 10. It's just a forgettable movie. The best part, and another good part, it's just the middle movie. That's all it is. It's just the setting up for the third film. That's really the entire film is. And it's setting up for the Clone Wars, which also started production right after this movie as well. So, basically, if you really want to know what happens after this, just go watch the Clone Wars in the third movie. This movie is kind of just the middle movie. And I give it a 5 out of 10 because it's kind of the middle movie. It's not the greatest, but it's not the worst movie out there. I've definitely seen way worse. 5 out of 10 is not even that bad of a score. It's a pretty reasonable score. Like Batman v Superman, that's a 3 out of 10, and the Emoji Movie is like a 2 out of 10. No, the Emoji Movie is a negative 5,000 out of 10, because the Emoji Movie can be barely classified as a movie. But Attack of the Clones, I can't really say anything about it. It has like it's isn't really memorable besides the I don't like sand moment, but otherwise it's a movie from the prequels.